And now I'm going to tell you about 10 new movies that are out and you might have missed it. This is exclusively my top, so enjoy watching and subscribe to the channel. The Iron Claw. The Iron Claw chronicles the real-life story of the Von Erichs, a family of wrestling icons who dominated the sport in the 1980s. Set against the extravagant backdrop of Dallas's wrestling scene, it follows brothers Kevin, David, and Kerry Von Erich as they leverage their athleticism, flashy personas, and trademarks moves like the Iron Claw to quickly rise to superstardom. The brothers' bond anchors them through their glamorous success. Guiding them is the wisdom of their stoic father Fritz, a wrestling legend who trained the siblings at the family's Dallas Sportatorium. But pressure to continue the Von Erich legacy weighs heavily on the brothers as they struggle with addiction and inner demons beneath the glitz. Tragedy strikes when David dies suddenly at his athletic peak, sending the surviving brothers into an emotional tailspin. Now without their leader, Kevin and Kerry strive to carry the Von Erich torch while coping with unimaginable grief and growing dysfunction. The film provides an intimate look at brothers shouldering great expectations, glory, and anguish. Their story transcends wrestling, portraying the heroic yet heartbreaking challenges faced by a family bound by both talent and trauma. Fueled by strong performances, The Iron Claw captures the soaring highs and devastating lows of sports entertainment's royal family. Land of Bad. Land of Bad follows an elite special forces team who find themselves ambushed deep in enemy territory. Severely outnumbered, their only hope is an Air Force duo, forward air controller Will Stokes and drone pilot Charlie Miller. From their secret base in Nevada, this unlikely pair remotely guides the wounded Green Berets through 48 hours of relentless combat. Charlie operates drones that provide air support, while Will coordinates airstrikes inches from the team's position. As the team takes and inflicts heavy casualties while evading the enemy, Will and Charlie struggle with the life-and-death decisions that come with wielding lethal technology from thousands of miles away. When their shifts end but the battle rages on, the safety of leaving weighs against loyalty to the men they've guided. Fueled by the real-life pressures of modern warfare, Land of Bad highlights the future of fighting where soldiers and remote pilots jointly operate. One Life. One Life tells the incredible true story of Nicholas Winton, an ordinary London stockbroker who single-handedly saved the lives of 669 children just before World War II. In 1938, Winton was preparing to go on a ski trip in Switzerland when he learned Jewish refugees were fleeing Nazi occupation in neighboring Czechoslovakia. Moved by their plight, he cancelled his vacation and founded the Czech Kindertransport program to evacuate children to safety in Britain. Despite little experience in diplomacy or rescue operations, the bold and compassionate Winton arranged trains, secured foster families, raised funds, and battled red tape to orchestrate 8 dangerous rescue missions. Parents agonized but placed their children's lives in his hands, while Winton tirelessly petitioned officials for entry visas. After the last train left in September 1939, Winton returned quietly to his job at the London Stock Exchange. He told no one for 50 years that he had risked his life to carry out one of history's greatest humanitarian rescue missions at the dawn of World War II. One Life beautifully captures how one quiet hero disregarded danger to save entire generations. It reminds us that even in our darkest times, ordinary people can achieve the extraordinary through courage and moral conviction. Gueules Noires. Gueules Noires takes place in a coal mining town in France, where a professor convinces a group of weary miners to take him down into the tunnels to gather geological samples. While underground, a landslide blocks their way back up, trapping them deep beneath the earth. Searching for an alternate exit route, the miners stumble upon a strange crypt that has remained sealed for centuries. Inside they discover mummified corpses and old weapons, as well as an ancient evil that should have remained buried. It soon becomes clear the miners have awoken a monstrous vampire-like creature that begins stalking and brutally murdering them one by one. With no weapons besides their pickaxes and dynamite, the men must quickly band together to find a way out before they fall victim to this violent subterranean demon. But escaping the endless maze of tunnels and stopping the seemingly immortal bloodthirsty beast proves difficult, as it rips through victim after victim, satiating its age-old bloodlust. Outmatched, lost and increasingly paranoid, the doomed miners must fight against all odds if any of them hope to see daylight again. Channeling classic monster tales and mining history, Gueules Noires delivers terrifying horror in the suffocating darkness beneath our feet. This claustrophobic thriller preys on our most primal fear, that the monsters we awake may never allow us to see the light again. Strange Way of Life. Strange Way of Life takes place in the American Southwest and revolves around two aging gunslingers with a storied history. After 25 years, Silva rides across the desert on horseback to reunite with his old friend Sheriff Jake at his remote homestead. The two men warmly reminisce about their frontier adventures in years past over drinks around a campfire. But in the morning, Jake cryptically tells Silva that celebrating old memories is not the real reason he has returned after all this time. As the day unfolds, it becomes clear these former partners and rivals have unresolved tensions that span decades. Long-kept secrets between the two men slowly rise to the surface. Cryptic exchanges reveal Jake has called Silva here for one final showdown out of a sense of duty tied to past bloodshed. Silva and Jake must confront the hairy truth that their mythic gunfighting days live on through legend, while they struggle to accept changing times in the fading West. The code of the land that connected them now demands closure through a reckoning. With sparse dialogue and richly atmospheric visuals, Strange Way of Life muses on the iconic gunslinger unable to escape past glory and violence. It provides a meditation on friendship, mortality, and how the codes we live by so often write our endings. Anyone But You. Anyone But You follows B and Ben, two strangers living in Sydney who have an immediate connection and whirlwind chemistry when they meet on a magical first date. But after a silly misunderstanding causes embarrassment, they decide they never want to see one another again. Months later, at a destination wedding in the Australian countryside, B and Ben end up at the same table, forced to confront their disastrous last encounter. To avoid awkwardness amongst mutual friends, they pretend to be a couple. The charade gradually rebuilds intimacy as they dance, explore the area's stunning vistas, and spend time together away from real life. Underneath sparring and sarcastic tension, the spark between them still smolders. As the wedding weekend unfolds, B and Ben struggle to remember why they parted ways to begin with. Caught between pride and real affection, their fake couple act begins feeling surprisingly natural. They are confronted with past hurt as they decide whether to be open to love or let it slip away again. The End We Start From. The End We Start From depicts a woman's harrowing struggle to protect her newborn child as catastrophic flooding ravages London. As the metropolis disappears underwater, she and her husband are forced to join a mass exodus seeking dry ground. Desperate to reach safety, the young family must navigate the chaos of crowded refugee camps where sickness and violence threaten daily. Food is scarce while flooding limits travel, yet they press north over sodden lands towards rumored refuge. Through the uncertainty of disaster, the woman bonds fiercely with her baby as emblems of hope. At times separated on their arduous journey, the mother's single-minded focus is finding her way back to her child. In brutal conditions testing the limits of human empathy and compassion, this allegorical tale explores the timeless love between parent and child. Like floodwaters seeking highest ground, that primal, protective love persists even when the foundations of society are swept away. This gripping drama serves as an eerie window into a submerged future shaped by climate extremes. But through one family's powerful will to endure and reunite, it poignantly examines the lengths parents go to shelter their child from harm when the world turns upside down. The Animal Kingdom. The Animal Kingdom is set in a distorted version of modern society where a phenomenon has caused certain humans to transform into strange animal-human hybrids. It centers on a father named Xavier who has mutated into a timber wolfman. Though the transformations have caused societal breakdown and discrimination, Xavier tries to live peacefully while raising his young son Cody. They keep Xavier's condition secret to avoid unwanted attention. When Cody gets distressed over upcoming mandatory blood tests at school that could detect Xavier's mutation, they embark on a road trip away from persecution. Along the journey exploring the rural countryside, Xavier teaches Cody to embrace his predatory instincts while hunting deer as a wolf. But the authorities soon pursue Xavier as an infected fugitive. Running low on food and medicine, Xavier's feral nature takes over, making him dangerously volatile. As Xavier struggles to shield Cody from his increasingly animal impulses, Cody grapples with the reality behind his father's transformation. An imaginative yet grounded sci-fi drama, The Animal Kingdom uses mutant hybrids to explore the animal condition of being human. It serves as an allegory for the primal instincts lurking beneath civilization's order and the extent parents go to keep children innocent. Miller's Girl. Miller's Girl explores the complex relationship between David Miller, an accomplished but discontented English teacher, and Angela Hayes, his talented yet enigmatic student. When Miller assigns his senior class to write a personal essay, Angela turns in an intimate account implicating her former teacher in an inappropriate encounter. Questioning her motives, Miller becomes entangled in Angela's intricate psyches as fact, fiction, and perception blur. Through flashbacks, their layered dynamic unfolds. We learn Angela recently transferred to Miller's suburban school to escape a troubled reputation tension that both intrigues and frustrates Miller. Their candid intellectual discussions lead to an intense, perhaps projective, bond. As the essay circulates and scrutiny intensifies, Miller confronts buried demons while Angela asserts authorial control over her identity. Their shared obsession with image and victimhood increase tensions. Soon psychological games give way to the reality of perception. Propelled by the strength of its two leads, Miller's Girl examines the unconscious desires, projections, and fears that permeate student-teacher relationships. It raises provocative questions about guilt, memory, trauma, and the power of the written word. The Boogeyman. The Boogeyman centers on sisters Sophie and Natalie, who are coping with the recent death of their mother. While their father grieves alone, strange occurrences begin plaguing the girls in their secluded farmhouse. At first, signs of a sinister presence are subtle, furniture rearranged, strange sounds at night. But the supernatural entity quickly turns violent and aggressive, brutally harming those it wants out of the home. As the ghostly encounters escalate, a terrified Natalie tries convincing grief-stricken Sophie and their skeptical dad that something demonic haunts them. With little help from her struggling family, Natalie takes it upon herself to uncover the horrifying history of their house and this sadistic spirit before it claims more victims. Frantic paranormal research leads to clues about the previous family that died there and a child's drawing of the dreaded Boogeyman. When their father refuses to leave, Natalie resorts to desperate measures to expel the evil presence before it turns deadly. The Boogeyman brings an iconic monster to frightening life through tense psychological suspense and nerve-shredding scares. As a bereaved family discovers, grief can blind us to the horrors lurking within our own homes. Thanks for watching. Give us a like and comment.